This quiz review is on polynomials, factoring, three forms of a quadratic, and completing the square. I'm going to go pretty quickly, but remember you can pause this video, you can change the playback speed to slower, and you can rewind it as much as you need to. For the first one, the first thing we need to do is distribute the 3. 3 times p is 3p, 3 times 7 is 21. Then we're going to distribute the 4. 4 times 2p is 8p. 4 times negative 9 is negative 36. Then I'm going to combine like terms. 3p plus 8p is 11p. And 21 minus 36 is negative 15. So that is my answer. Number 2, you are adding. When you're adding, you combine like terms. So we have 3x squared plus 2x squared. That gives me 5x squared. It stays an x squared. When you are adding, you absolutely do not disturb the exponent. So it stays x to the second. Then we're going to add negative 3x and positive 2x. That gives me negative 1x. And then 1 goes with negative 9. That gives you negative 8. Number 3, you are subtracting. There is a negative 1 that you put there, and you distribute the negative 1. So that gives you negative 3x squared and negative 5y. And drop down everything in the first one. Then you're going to combine like terms. 7x squared minus 3x squared is 4x squared. And 3y minus 5y is negative 2y. Number 4, we need to multiply. Notice there's not a plus or a minus between the parentheses. The way we do this is I teach the lobster claw method. So we have 3x times 6x. That is 18x squared. When you're multiplying, you add the exponents. 3x times 7 is 21x. Then we come down here and do the bottom claw. Negative 4 times 6x is negative 24x. And negative 4 times 7 is negative 28. Then you want to combine like terms. So I drop down the 18x squared. Combine 21x minus 24x gives you negative 3x. And drop down the negative 28. So that's your answer. Number 5, when you see a square on the outside, it means write it twice. Write it twice. So I'm doing the lobster claw. 3x times 3x is 9x squared because you add your exponents. 3x times negative 2 is negative 6x. Then I come down here and do this claw. Negative 2 times 3x is negative 6x. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. Combine like terms. Drop down the 9x squared. Combine like terms, that gives you negative 12x plus 4. Number 6 says, what is the missing term in the quadratic expression below? So notice that you will see you have 2 sets of parentheses right here. So if you lobster claw those, 2x times 2x is 2x squared. 2x times 4 is 8x. Come down here and do this one. Negative 3 times x is negative 3x. Negative 3 times 4 is negative 12. So they already have the 2x squared, and they already have the negative 12. They want to know what goes in this blank. But remember, you have to combine like terms. So what goes in the blank is 5x. So that is what's missing. On number 7, once again, we have 2 sets of parentheses, so we're going to lobster claw, but we're going to do a lot of it. X times 3x squared is 3x cubed because you add your exponents. X times negative 4x is negative 4x squared. And x times negative 5 is negative 5x. So I have to take it to everything. Then I come down here and do the bottom. Positive 3 times 3x is 9x squared. 3 times negative 4x is negative 12x. And 3 times negative 5 is negative 15. Combine like terms. There is nothing that goes with 3x cubed, so we drop it down. But I have 2x squareds right here, so I'm going to combine those. Negative 4 plus 9 is 5x squared. And then I can put negative 5x and negative 12x together. It gives me negative 17x, and drop down your negative 15. All right, number 8, we got a doozy coming up. First thing I'm going to do is lobster claw these. I'm going to lobster claw these. So x times 3x is 3x squared. X times negative 1 is negative 1x. Negative 2 times 3x is negative 6x. And negative 2 times negative 1 is positive 2. And negative times a negative is a positive. All right, I'm going to go ahead and combine like terms. That gives me 3x squared, negative 7x, and positive 2. And I'm going to drop down this one, 2x plus 1. Now I have to lobster claw this one. 2x times 3x squared is 6x cubed. 2x times negative 7x is negative 14x squared. Got to add my exponents. 2x times 2 is 4x. Then I'll do the bottom claw. 1 times 3x squared is 3x squared. 1 times negative 7x is negative 7x. And 1 times 2 is 2. All right, then I'm going to combine like terms. There's nothing that goes with 6x cubed, so I drop it down. Negative 14x squared goes with 3x squared. That gives me a negative 11x squared. 4x goes with negative 7x, so that's negative 3x. And drop down your plus 2. All right, remember you can go back and rewatch any of that you need to. All right, number 9, we've got to distribute first. 2x times x squared is 2x cubed because we add our exponents. 2x times 9 is 18x, and drop down the minus 2x. Then we have to combine like terms, so I get 2x cubed plus 16x. That is my answer. Okay. All right, next we are going to factor. First thing we do when we factor is we multiply a times c, so that gives me 24. Figure out things that multiply to give me 24. 4 times 6, 12 times 2, 8 times 3, and now we're going to add them and see what we get. We add to get 10, 14, and 11. I'm looking for what gives me negative 11. Well, I've got an 11, but it needs to be negative. This is positive 24. 8 times 3 gives you 24. Also, negative 8 times a negative 3 gives you positive 24. A negative times a negative gives you a positive. When you add negative 8 and negative 3, you get negative 11. So this is the combination that I want. You have to divide it by a, your first number, but in this case, it doesn't change. Negative 8 divided by 1 is negative 8. Negative 3 divided by 1 is negative 3. To write your answer, you put x, and you write these numbers, negative 8, negative 3. It doesn't matter which one goes where. Number 11. Oh, I forgot to say on number 10, first step is actually to check for a GCF, greatest common factor. But this one did not have a greatest common factor. So check for a GCF first. Check for a GCF first. And this one, there is a GCF. 8 will go into both of those. We need to divide them both by 8. So that leaves me with x squared minus 4. I'm going to rewrite that as x squared plus 0x minus 4. It's missing the middle term. Then I'm still going to multiply these. Negative 4. What multiplies give me negative 4? Negative 4 and 1, negative 2 and 2. And now I'm going to add them. When I add them, I get negative 3. When I add these, I get 0. I'm looking for 0. So this is my combination. I'm going to divide it by the first number, and nothing changes. So it's x minus 2, x plus 2. And then you put your GCF in front. So this is my answer. Right there. There's my answer. Okay. All right. Number 12. Check for a GCF first. Check for a GCF first. Will 5 go into all those? No. 2 won't go into all of them? No. There's no GCF. So I'm ready to multiply. 5 times negative 6 is negative 30. What are some things that multiply to give me negative 30? Remember, to get a negative, it needs to be a positive times a negative. So here I get 13, 1, 7. What am I looking for? I'm looking for 13. So this is my combination, but you have to divide it by the a value. So I'm going to write it right here. I'm going to divide 15 by 5 and negative 2 by 5. Well, 15 divides by 5. That gives me 3. Negative 2 will not divide by 5. So let me show you how we're going to write your answer. So 2 sets of parentheses. The first one's going to be x plus 3 because 15 divided by 5 gave us 3. For this one, you have to write your bottom number in the front. I always say bottoms up, bottoms up. Bottom goes up to the front, so 5x, and then you write minus 2. So this is your answer. All right, 13, check for a GCF. Will anything go into all those? Yes, 7 will go into all of those. So that leaves me with 2x squared plus 1x minus 3. So I'll multiply these, so negative 6. What multiplies give me negative 6? Negative 6 and 1, negative 3 and 2. All right, now I'm going to add those. That gives me negative 5, negative 1. I'm looking for positive 1. That's important. So I need to do positive 3 times negative 2. That will still multiply to give me negative 6, but it'll add to give me 1. Then I divide those by a. 3 will not divide by 2. Negative 2 divided by 2 will give me negative 1. So remember how I write this. Bottoms up, bottoms up. So 2x plus 3, and then x minus 1, and put your GCF in front. All right, what form are each of the following quadratics in? What information does it tell you? This one is in standard form. It's got an x squared, an x, and a number, no parentheses. That's standard form. And it tells you the y-intercept. Positive 7 is your y-intercept. This one is in vertex form. It has a parenthesis and then a square. That means it's in vertex form. And it tells you the vertex. Your vertex would be negative 7, negative 4. That's just extra information. This one is in factored form. It has parentheses and no square. All right, so that's factored form. And it tells you the roots. Roots are the same thing as x-intercepts. Okay? All right, pause the video. Try these on your own, these next 3. All right, this one, I hope you got factored form, so it tells you the roots. That's the same thing as the x-intercepts. This one's in standard form, so it tells you the y-intercept. 5 is the y-intercept. And this one's in vertex form, so it tells you the vertex. All right, complete the square. For complete the square, first 2 in parentheses, and I do plus a blank, and then minus a blank. Plus a blank, minus a blank. Take half of negative 12. That gives me negative 6, and then I'm going to square it, which gives me 36. So that goes in the blank. So this factors back down to x minus 6. It's whatever half of it was. So x minus 6, you put a square on the outside, and then you combine like terms. That gives me negative 31. So this is the vertex form of that parabola. All right, and last one. Put your parentheses in. If there's a number in front of the x, you have to divide by that. I divide just these, just those. Put the negative 2 out front. So this gives me x squared minus 3x plus a blank. The plus 1 goes outside, and I minus a blank. I'm going to take half of negative 3. That gives me negative 1.5. And then I'm going to square it. When I square 1.5, I get 2.25. So that's what goes in this first blank, 2.25. But if there's a number outside of the parentheses, you have to multiply these 2 to get this blank. So this gives me negative 4.5. All right, I'm ready to write my answer. Drop down the negative 2, and then in parentheses, I'm going to have x. The square is going to go on the outside. It's whatever half of negative 3 was. It was negative 1.5. And then you combine like terms there. 1 minus negative 4.5. So that turns into a plus. So that gives you 5.5. So here is your vertex form of that one.